Hello, I am the Ronin Pawn, and this is another installation in the Ronin Pawn's one-off random tirades, trademark Ronin Pawn 2017. Today was an interesting day for me. I went to a friend's house. I went to my buddy Brandon's house to bring him a prop for a production that he is shooting and that I am doing the editing on. And whilst I was at his house, I received a phone call telling me that my security alarm had gone off in my $2,500 home here on the streets of Detroit. I told him, well, I'm not home, and the only person who is home is my little kitty, Paws, maybe 4 or 5 pounds total, and they're not supposed to set off the alarm. So I told him, dispatch the police, please. That was the end of the phone call, and I immediately put my coat on and said, well, I guess I'm not doing the other things that I had planned today, because now I have to rush home and find out whether or not I'm being robbed. And then I got a call about a minute and a half later from the same woman telling me, I just spoke to the Detroit Police Department, and they refuse to dispatch police officers to the home unless someone is there or has seen evidence of an intrusion. They do not respond to security companies calling them and telling them we have an alarm going off. Could you, I don't know, drive over, walk around the house, see if there's any signs of forced entry, get back in your car and go do the rest of your job? No, we don't do that, is the city of Detroit's official position. The police department, for whom the city of Detroit charges me extra taxes on top of my federal taxes, does not respond to security calls. And to be honest with you, I kind of figured that. When I bought the home and installed the security system. In the back of my head, I was saying, you know what? I have heard stories from people who live in Detroit. I have a friend who moved just a couple of blocks away from here, really. More than a couple of blocks, but less than a mile away from here a number of years ago, and they had an actual break-in. He was living in a situation where he had a roommate, and it was a woman, and she was at home because she was working nights. She was at home in bed during the day and just so happened to be naked in bed because that's just how she slept. Don't look into that too hard. She was naked at home alone in bed in the middle of the day, asleep, when intruders came in through, I believe it was an attic window, and went about the task of robbing the place, or were going to, and then they stumbled into her bedroom, and she awoke with a start, nude under the covers, and freaked out and screamed, and when she screamed, they pissed their pants and ran out the door. So there was no robbing to commence that day. Thankfully, she'd been home, although thankfully also these intruders weren't the kind who will just effing kill you so that they can take whatever you've got. So they had this intrusion. Obviously, first thing you do, we'll put some clothes on probably. Second thing you do, you call the police. She called the police, reported the intrusion, told them the story, told them that, they were scared off when they woke me up and I screamed and they left the house and, send some people by. And they said, okay, well, given the situation, we'll send some people by to get a report tomorrow. And you know what? They didn't come. They never came. They never came to collect the report. Their official response to intruders were just in my home and I scared them off is, well, I guess there's no real event to show up to. So, thanks for calling. We will come back, though, tomorrow was their position, and then they never followed up. They never. So these are the stories of how the Detroit Police Department works, and there's also a lot in the newspaper about, say, their response time when you do call them, and there is really an issue that the police absolutely positively should show up to. Response times tend to be, they're only quantifiable by the term meh. Is basically where the city of Detroit. So when I installed the security system, when I moved here, kind of knew what I was getting into there. But, I don't know, in the back of my head, I knew that intellectually, but I just it wasn't real. And today it became real. Because here I was, about 25 minutes away at my friend's house, getting a call telling me, your alarm has gone off, there may be intruders. And to blow the story right in the middle here, there were no intruders. It was a false alarm, probably caused by my little 5-pound kitten who's falling asleep on my chair listening to me tell the story. Yeah, I get a call, I'm 25 minutes away, and so what position am I now in as a citizen of the city of Detroit, a tax-paying citizen of Detroit who owns a home, foreclosed property that I caught on the edge of it going to blight, trying to restore it, not for the purpose of selling it or renting it because I want to live here, because I very much enjoy the city of Detroit. I love it. Not a big fan of the police department today, but the city itself and the people who live here when they're not breaking into your house, which also happened to me if you missed that tirade. I'm getting off track here. What position am I now in as the homeowner who has received the call and the police have said, yeah, we're not going to come unless you can prove that there's someone there, unless someone's going to actually tell us we saw somebody break in, there are signs of forced entry. If it's just a security company calling to report an alarm has been triggered, have a nice day. So what position am I in? Well, I'm in the position of the police now. I'm the first responder. I'm the officer on call. I'm jumping into my car at my friend's house 25 minutes away and getting back here in between 15 and 18 minutes, I'd say, because at this point, fuck your traffic laws, okay? If you're gonna make me the police, if you're not gonna do your job, I'm gonna be running red lights and I'm gonna be turning against signals. Get out of my way, because today, I'm the police, thanks to the Detroit Police Department not doing their jobs, not reading the text that's printed on the side of their vehicles, which is to serve and protect. And the thing is, the insult added to injury is that where I live, I am between two major roads just as they come together. I've got a short block that's between them on the diagonal. And if I stood at the corner of either of those roads, 7 minutes would not pass without a police car going in one direction or the other. They are constantly through this area. They are always patrolling. They're always on their way to or from somewhere in this vicinity. They're always around me. And they can't, they won't, it is their official policy, we're not going to have one of the officers who is at all times no further than 5 to 7 minutes away from your home, turn off the street, down into your subdivision, park, get out of their car, walk around the house looking for broken windows or kicked in doors. We can't be bothered to do that. That's on you. So that makes me the police, and if I'm going to be the police, honestly, it was a little bit of vitriol in my heart when I said, okay, because if that's the position you're going to put me in, I will take the role. And I will take it wholeheartedly, because when I get home, what am I going to do? I'm going to walk around the house. I'm going to see if there's any initial signs of forced entry, like you should have done. And then if there aren't, now I have to breach my own home. I have to walk through the door of a building where I have reason to believe someone may be inside, an intruder, armed, not armed, intentions, who knows? Drug user, off his head, coked up beyond belief, ready to snap. I don't know what's behind this door. I'm the guy who has to go through that door. And it begs the question, why have a police department? Why not take those tax dollars we give you and just hand out pistols to everybody? Because if you're not going to do the job and it's just going to be the Wild West, fuck it! Let it be the Wild West. Everybody gets a gun and we'll all just sort it out ourselves. Because that's how I feel. I feel like the reason why the city of Detroit can't be bothered to send a car past my house when they're always around, just to walk the perimeter, check the doorknobs, see if there's any broken glass. The reason they can't be bothered to do that is because there's no money in it. Because it would take an officer on the street right now who's patrolling and who's looking for traffic violations, who can find things that make the city a little bit of scratch on a day-to-day basis. I don't know, those 4 minutes for him to actually protect and serve, for him to be the first responder instead of a citizen, there's no money in it. I mean, that's kind of where all these arguments go to. Everyone always makes the assumption, well, it's about the money. But I just, where else am I supposed to take it? I think the reason why we all go there is because it's true. How do you have a police force that doesn't do this? How do you have a police force that doesn't respond to these calls? We have neighborhoods, we have communities. The police are supposed to be here to, hold order, maintain something, create a certain level of protection for us, and they can't be pulled off of the street by dispatch for a 5-minute check-in on one of our citizens' neighborhoods to see if something illegal is going on, that if it is going on, is going to completely decimate their life. I can't believe I've gone this long without a jump cut. It's just how passionate I am about this. I don't need to break this up with editing. I actually do need to get my own gun, and I need to carry it on my person at all times, because I can't count on there being a state of law and order. I can't count on there being an enforcement on the street, even though one exists. And I feel like it's because it's about the money. There's a lot of false calls on alarm systems. It takes time. It takes people off the streets. And I would say for a completely good and valid reason that is entirely worthwhile and that would make everybody so much happier with the City of Detroit police if they would come to our homes when we have reason to suspect somebody's in there and maybe they want to kill us. From a person who identifies more on the socialist end of the political spectrum, I'm standing here saying, maybe this is a situation for privatization. Because at this point, the Detroit Police Department's policies basically mimic a privatized police force. It's for the money. It's always for the money. And instead of paying tax dollars to the city of Detroit, what if we all chipped $15 a month into a smaller local kind of security force that when you actually have a problem, they'll actually dispatch because they're making the monthly bills. They're making the money. It's already there for them. They've got a reason to come. They're being paid for it. I hate to say that, and that would be literally the RoboCop world. Because that movie was set in Detroit, and it was all about a police force that was being privatized and corporatized. I think that's actually where we're going. And I think private industry could do it more effectively and actually serve the public at this point. I'm just livid. I'm just incredibly angry that this is where I am, that I can't count on anything, and that basically, you want to defend your own property? Set up some Home Alone traps in your house because the police aren't going to be there for you. Get yourself a gun. Maybe want to go fully automatic, I just posted a few days ago, Happy New Year's Eve. You walk outside in Detroit, what do you hear at midnight on January 1st, 2017? Not just bang, bang, bang. We're talking fully auto, gasoline-powered miniguns into the sky. And there's a reason for that. And it's not that we're all criminals and that we all need a gun in order to stick somebody up. We all need a gun because the police department isn't there. Because we can't depend on it. Because even if we call them and say there's someone shooting at us, they might go, okay, can you call us back tomorrow? So, what do you do if you're me in this situation? Well, number one, flip your motion sensor upside down so that it won't be staring down at the ground so much, and it'll be staring kind of straight ahead, move it a little bit further down on the ground, so it'll be looking at sort of human walking level. I need to have eyes on the inside of my house. I need to be able to look at the inside of my house from wherever I am. So, more money out of my pocket to get a security camera so that when it does trigger a sensor, the camera comes on, I can log onto my phone and say, is there really someone in the house? And if there is, then maybe I can get the city of Detroit to actually dispatch someone on the day it's happening. I don't know, though. We don't know. We're not sure. I've already ordered the security camera that I need. I'm going to do everything that I can to find a way to write that off of my city taxes. I don't know if you can do write-offs on city taxes, but I'm going to try because, damn it. And I hate to be that disparaging about police force, but in my city, in this situation right here, what am I supposed to do? Considering what I just went through today and what I now know, which is that the city of Detroit expects the citizens of Detroit to be the first responders, first through the door. They have to actually meet an assailant in their house before they're willing to dispatch an actual officer to do anything about it. I love this city. There are parts of it I could do without. And Detroit Police Department, I think, stop charging taxes, shut down the doors, just hand out pistols and ammo. I am the Ronin Pawn! What are you gonna do? This tirade is trademark, copyright, 2017, Ronin Pawn. Do not distribute it. Well, actually do, trade it, send it out. I want people to hear this. Also, more ad reps for me. Pawn out!